What's up, everybody? Beast Sense Commission back at you, live and in living color. Um, anyone who's been watching the channel over the last few months, know that one of the top things that I want to get across are some life lessons, some quotables, some things to kind of get you through 2026 and beyond. So today we're going to talk about a saying that I've been reminded of in the last year or two. Of course, I've heard it much sooner than 2024, 2025. In the industry I work in the finance industry, and the lady that was in charge of our org, our SVP, if you will, the one thing that she said that always stuck out to me, she said it on two different occasions in the time that we worked together. She since moved on to other endeavors. It is the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. Now think about that for a little bit, right? Just imagine the things that you would or would not have based off of that saying, off of that theory. I go all the way back to when I was a young boy, right? You ask your parents for something, they tell you no, no, no. You ask them enough, especially depending on the financial circumstances and the parent, you may just get it. So it's a adage that's been around for years and years and years. That's been true, and you can use it in different aspects of your life. Closed mouth don't get fed, right? Think back to your teenage years. You may be a little nervous. You know, you may be a young pup, or even a young lady, right? Coming up, you may have that person that you really desire and really want to talk to, go steady, as they said back in my day. And you think about it, you convulse over it, you really kind of stress about if it'll come to fruition, right? And you finally ask that person out, especially the guys asking the women, right? They may say yes, and they may have been waiting for you to ask that question, right? It may have been something that they've been thinking of just as long, if not longer than you, but you really would not have known if you didn't say anything, right? There's countless times I go back in my life. For anyone who's new to the channel, I've been living 41 years, 41 and a half and some change, 42 in a couple months, God willing. But closed mouths don't get fed, right? I think that's an avenue that we really need to explore more as 2026 come along, right? Especially in the workforce. There's so many things that I've seen, so many people I've seen get ahead, and it's because they're around the right people, right? So that's a part of networking to a degree, but it's also their mentality and the way that they go about life. It's bigger than dating, bigger than personal life. It's really kind of a matter of, in some ways, it's a matter of life and death, right? I watched The Godfather. Anybody who knows me know that's one of my top 5 favorite movies. We gotta check out the last video if you want to hear one of the life lessons I learned from that movie. And I always think about at the end, right, when Tessio kind of was at the end of his rope. They figured out due to Vito giving Mike the advice ahead of time that the trader was going to come to them about the deal with Barzini. And they figured it out, they snuffed it out, and they switched cars on him at the end, right? Because the thing was they were going to ambush Mike when they got to Tessio's ground. And, they figured it out, they snuffed it out, they changed the plans, they rolled up on him. Tessio looks around, he's super nervous, he's sweating, he knows that his life is about to end. And what does he do? He looks over at Tom and he says, "Tom, can you get me off the hook for old time's sakes?" Just think about that. This dude has no outs whatsoever. He knows there's no chance in hell, but he asks anyway, just in case Tom Hagen had a soft spot, or just in case Tom Hagen wanted those 30, 40 years that he was alive and known Tessio to be, to kind of have a soft spot for it, right? somehow Mike was maybe going to banish him to a whole nother country and forget about it. But he thought to ask because you just never know. There's been so many times. As a matter of fact, my career change was based off of me asking the right questions, right? About 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I came to North Carolina, I was in customer service working at Enterprise Rent a Car. I pretty much achieved or reached the pretty much the max of where I was going to be able to go in that company, right? For whatever reason, some my own, some reasons of my own, some reasons for politics and others, right? And still working there. I went to corporate, came back into the office, the rental offices, and I was working. And there was a young lady from Bank of America who had a travel discount. She was using her car for corporate. And she and I were talking. She seemed kind of impressed with my customer service. She said something to me. I can't remember. Something of the effect of "Thank you for your service," or "You're really good at this." Something to that effect. And I asked her essentially, did she like what she was doing? Tell me more about banking. Tell me more about your time in banking. And she took that as me asking or being curious enough to potentially be someone that they would bring on to the company, because she said, "Hey, are you looking?" I said, "I'm open to it." And I had a career change that led me 11 years later to where I am now in my career. Not quite in banking, but in finance. And it was because I asked the questions that were needed to be asked. And I'm not even going to get on the amount of times that I've gotten the immense pleasure of a female company just by being bold and opening my mouth, right? You just never know. You may try. It's kind of like the Michael Jordan. You miss every shot you don't take, right? That's actually a big tie-in to this. Or I think it was Ryan Gretzky, actually. Ryan Gretzky actually said that. Shout out to Ryan Gretzky for that quote. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And perhaps maybe Michael Jordan got intertwined with it somehow. I don't know. Don't remember. Maybe they asked him like a follow-up. But it's the same theory. Don't be too shy to ask for what you want. You may get exactly that plus more. Your future depends on you being sharp enough, curious enough, and bold enough to ask for what you want. Closed mouths do not get fed. It's an age-old adage, and I don't think it'll ever change. You have to be fearless in your life, in your goals, and your career. I say this to any young person out there. I'll say it to anybody that's my age, and I say it to people who are older. A lot of times I actually give what I consider blessings, my advice. I can see it being heard by people who are older than me at times, because you're never too smart, or you're never too wise to learn something new, right? And people have probably heard this. This is not a B. Stinson original. I didn't come up with this, but it's something you just need to hear, and it may be the time for you to hear it right now. So, closed mouths don't get fed. Tell me your experiences with that actual adage, that line. Drop it in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Much love. I'll come back at you soon with another one. Peace.